What is up guys, Taiki here, and in this video I'll be giving an update on the Avalanche ecosystem and discussing the importance of conviction as well as some profit-taking strategies that I'll be deploying as the price of Avalanche goes higher and higher. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section below. So let's get started. So as I was preparing the slide deck and as I was thinking about how to make this video, I wanted to kind of reflect on the past 6 weeks because looking back, I kind of feel like I was some crazy man given how much conviction I had on Avalanche and some of my trades and farms. Because flashback to August 10th when I saw this announcement that Benki will be receiving liquidity mining incentives from the AVAX team. It's only $3 million, which isn't that much in the grand scheme of things, but when I saw this, I'm like, okay, I'm loading up, right? This is the time to rotate into Avalanche because this is the next big wave, right? And if you look back at all my videos, you see that past 5 to 6 weeks, essentially, I've just been talking about Avalanche, right? I mean, some other ecosystems too, right? Just to cover my basis to, understand all ecosystems, but essentially my conviction lied on AVAX. And I feel like to outperform the market, at least in crypto, right? To outperform Bitcoin, ETH, and the majors, you kind of have to have a little bit of crazy in you. Because crypto markets, they're so volatile. We have 30-40% dips every single, all the time. And I feel like when you're navigating the markets, you really have to have conviction in your bags. This doesn't mean bag hold things to zero, right? You should have at some point where your thesis is broken. But with Bitcoin, ETH, Avalanche, Luna, right, which are my main bags, I just have super, super high conviction. So if you ask me, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the level of conviction of my bags? I would say that my level is Michael Saylor, right? Because Michael Saylor, this guy is insane, right? People give him shit because he's a Bitcoin maxi, and I understand that. But I mean, he's done. I mean, he sees the future, right? He did the research back in 2020. He found Bitcoin, right? He was like, okay, I was wrong. I used to think this was a scam, but now I'm wrong. I'm going all in. And he didn't just go all in. He's giga all in, right? He is Michael Saylor level conviction, right? He literally said okay, I'm gonna transform my company from a software company to a Bitcoin, pseudo Bitcoin ETF, right? And we all know he's not gonna sell anytime soon. This meme is from some interview that he did when he's what's the second best crypto asset? Well, there is no second best crypto asset. It's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only crypto asset. And we have to even though he's a maxi and I generally don't like maxis, we have to give him respect because he's done the work, he's done the research, he sees the future, and he lives in a world where 10, 20 years from now, Bitcoin is trading at 6 figures, 7 figures, and his company is going to be one of the most valuable companies ever, right? He sees the future, right? And I feel if you want to survive in crypto, or if you want to outperform the market in crypto, you got to have Saylor level of conviction. Because if you look at Avalanche, right, people might look at this chart and be like, oh wow, Avalanche trade was so easy, you're so lucky. But in fact, we're not lucky, right? Because essentially, I discovered Avalanche in that box in roughly $20. I didn't load up back then because I just didn't have enough time. It was some vertical accumulation from the $20 to $30 range. But this is when I found conviction and I just started buying. So looking at the daily chart, right, we see that okay, it's up only, but there was a lot of turbulence until we got to where we are, which is roughly $70. So this is going to be the 4-hour chart, just zooming in, and I just want to go over all the dips that we've had that are roughly 30%. So in late August we had a 31% drop, and then again we had a 27% drop a day after, and then in early September we have a 38% drop, and then mid September minus 26%, and most recently minus 31%, right? And sure, in hindsight, these were easy holds, right? You buy the dip, etc. But when you're living in them, it's really, really hard, and it's really hard not to sell if you don't have conviction, right? And for me personally, because I built conviction, I was just vertically accumulating on the way up, right? I was like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care what price I'm buying at because I know it's going higher, right? I was being a Saylor here. I was being a Saylor here too, right? I bought some Avalanche here, and most recently I was being a Saylor at $55. And in hindsight, I feel like this was really, really aggressive given that my Avalanche bag's already big, but I just couldn't help myself because I see the future. I am the Saylor of Avalanche, I believe, at least in the short term. And one of the reasons I'm so bullish is because I have a thesis, right? I did the research, I have a thesis, and I'm just waiting for the thesis to play out. And my thesis, like I've always mentioned, is that AAVE and Curve are positive catalysts for the Avalanche ecosystem, and when they deploy, Avalanche is going to hit $10 billion in TVL. I said this when TVL and Avalanche was 200 million, right? So back then it was a pretty bold call. Now, like, it's probably happening. I mean, it's like people probably expect this, right? But the bridging data is super, super bullish, right? Like, we don't really have to apply too much like TA on Avalanche right now, at least in like the past couple of weeks, because all we had to know was that there are more people bridging into the ecosystem, and that's going to be bullish for just most bags on Avalanche, right? AVAX, Joe, Yak, etc. And I feel like when I talk about the bridging data, I kind of sound like this guy, right? I'm just like, I'm buying the dip because look at the bridging data. Look at the bridging data. I'm going in. I'm going in. And so I feel like looking back, like I just feel like some crazy man. But I feel like you kind of have to have a little bit of crazy in you, because something can't go up 5x without having like major retracements of like 25, 30, 40, 50%, right? And obviously, I mentioned AAVE, and at the time of recording, AAVE is not announced yet. But we all know it's coming, right? And to be honest, like, it doesn't really matter if it launches today, tomorrow, or like later this week, because we all know it's coming. And I essentially came up with a date of September 22nd because, Kevin Seknicki, who is the COO of Avalanche, is just giving us all like massive blue balls, right? He's just like teasing us. Yeah, and like there's like no clear communication, but he's just like teasing us like out of the wazoo. He tweeted this on the 14th, right? First day of autumn, I think he calls it like Ava Autumn or something, right? Like September 22nd. And then, on the 20th, he said, okay, Avalanche Rush imminent. Official announcements from key participants should be rolling throughout the week. Excited. And yesterday he said, okay, I forgot to delete the back one, but he says, tomorrow, get ready, right? And he tweeted this on the 21st. So, he's just like teasing us. I just hope it gets announced soon, right? We just want some clarity. But, this is like all the reasons why I believe, like, AAVE's coming, right? It was already approved. Even Suzu is tweeting about this, and Stani who's the founder of AAVE, is saying, see you soon on Avalanche. So it's coming. Just be patient. And if it gets delayed 1 or 2 days, it's not going to be bearish, right? Because we all know it's coming. So to transition to the conviction topic to now the profit taking topic, right? Because I just want to go over this because I guess I can say this from the point of being early in the Avalanche, but recently I've been starting to see a lot of moon boys, right? And when the moon boys start to come, you kind of have to be careful, right? Because we've seen these moon boys come and go on my channel, right? Whenever I start to become neutral to bearish an asset, these people just come in out of nowhere and just call me a fudder, and they tell me that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And you generally don't want to be this guy that's just coming to the comment section that like recently bought like a few days ago and saying Avalanche is gonna flip Solana, like top 5 coin incoming. Don't get me wrong, this could happen, but I don't know what the likelihood of this happening is, because when I look at the top 10 coin on CoinGecko, right, I don't really consider stable coins to be part of the top 10. So I consider, I guess, the top 13 to be the top 10. And like I really like all these projects, like most of these projects, right? not XRP, but right now Avalanche is sitting at roughly $15 billion in market cap, and I don't know. It's hard to compare valuations to Doge, but the number 8 is Polkadot at 31 billion. And if you ask me, like, does Avalanche deserve to flip Polkadot? Like, I'm not sure, right? Sure, there's like not much being built on Polkadot, but Polkadot is an amazing ecosystem, right? And I'm most likely going to be participating in it in the near future. So, think about the humble farmer mindset. Like, we front ran the crowd. Now the question is, like, when do we take profits and how to take them, right? Because a simple way is to just sell them to dollars, but there are other ways to think about taking profits. So, as always, none of this is financial advice. Your money, your decisions. I'm just talking about what I'm personally planning to do. You're the one clicking buttons, so let's just get that out of the way. So, for me, when it comes to Avalanche, it's not like I don't really care about selling the top, right? I don't really care about like sounding smart. I don't really care about like unloading all of my bags at the Pico top to catch clout, right? I really don't care. Like to be honest, like I just care about like managing risk and just like locking in profits and making money. Yeah. And because we're just humble farmers tending to our gains, we're not a maxi of any ecosystem. We're yield maxis, opportunity maxis, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes it makes sense to take risk off of a particular ecosystem and rotate into other ecosystems. Because with Avalanche, I think we're closer to the 6th inning than we are in the 3rd inning. Now, there are going to be influencers, YouTubers that will tell you otherwise, but then my question to them is, like, where the hell were you last month when I was covering Avalanche at $20, right? Now at $70, you're going to say this is like the next 5x coin? Get the fuck out of here, right? So I mean, they're just doing it for like engagement, right? Because they have like AdSense, like they make money from ads, sponsors, etc. But that's why I don't run ads. So like I'm not incentivized to make like clickbait content, right? I'm just like more sharing my opinions on the market. So the kind of the mind frame that I guess mentality that I have is, I mean, this isn't like a super complex strategy, but I always think about like the next 2x, right? So hypothetically, let's say Avalanche is at $90, right? Sometime in the future, hopefully. Is the next 2x with the good risk reward gonna be hodling Avalanche? Or is the next easiest 2x with a good risk reward gonna be finding the next flavor of the month, or like finding the next rotation into a new ecosystem, right? Because generally you don't want to be FOMOing into an ecosystem when everyone is talking about it, right? You generally want to get into ecosystems when no one's talking about it, but you see positive catalysts coming up, right? And there are many other ecosystems that present this opportunity. So maybe it's worth considering that, okay, like, yes, I think Avalanche can hit, $100, $120. However, I think that the risk that I need to take to get to, from 90 to 180 is too much for me to take. So I feel comfortable taking risk off and rotating into other bags. So that being said, let's go over some profit taking strategies that I'm personally considering. I have not taken any profits yet, for full transparency, but I'm starting to consider them because, it's getting frothy, etc. So the easiest way to think about profit taking strategies is rotating into Bitcoin, ETH, and stable coins, right? I mean, I feel like this is what most people do. And with AAVE and Curve coming, yields are going to be insane, right? So this is a very, very comfy strategy. And if you're holding, majority Bitcoin and ETH, you're going to be protected at the downside while still being able to capture the upside that crypto can give you. Now, this is a video back from April 30th, right? I made this video called The Money Printing Game on AAVE on Polygon. And if you just zoom in on, I guess, on the right side here, you see that, like you can deposit your assets as collateral, right? Being paid, healthy amounts to do so. And you can be paid to borrow. This is what's going to happen on AAVE. And this is why I've been so bullish AAVE on Avalanche for the past, 6 weeks, right? So I'm not sure this similar thing is going to happen where, for example, if you borrow Tether or any of those stablecoin, you have to pay 4% interest, but, Avalanche, you'll receive like 10 to 15% rewards in Avalanche as part of the liquidity mining incentives, right? So, you can deposit stable coins, borrow stable coins, redeposit stable coins, and be paid to do so. Stuff like that. A bunch of strategies will be available to your arsenal. I'll be making a video in the future when AAVE does launch on different things that you can do with AAVE. I think AAVE is the most powerful application in all of DeFi, and I've been saying that since April. Okay. Yeah, and you can use any of these assets as collateral, borrow against it, enter farms, and just be paid to do so. Profit taking strategy number 2. This is a more complex one. You have to take eat some fees and slippage, but you can be a liquidity provider for an Avalanche or Avalanche to XYZ pair, right? XYZ can be Bitcoin, ETH, stablecoins, etc. You can auto compound, you can farm to accumulate Joe or farm and dump Joe. And I say Joe because they're the #1 exchange, but you can do this for Pangolin as well. But I'm just gonna go over Trader Joe, right? Just because they're the #1 DEX on Avalanche. So one form that I really like is the Avalanche MIM pool. MIM is Magic Internet Money. It's an over-collateralized stablecoin, and right now you can be paid 124% to be a liquidity provider, right? I took the screenshot a few days ago, so it might be outdated, but you can do that too. And if you're kind of like wary about like Magic Internet Money, you can also do it for DAI, Tether, and be like pay like 100%, right? It's pretty simple. So if you want to be a liquidity provider, you can, let's say you have hypothetically $10,000 in AVAX, you can sell half of it, 5K Avalanche stablecoin, and be a liquidity provider and earn 100% on that position, right? Through trading fees and like earning inflationary token rewards in the form of the Joe token. Right, and if you want to farm and dump Joe, and you just want to like keep increasing your principal, you can put it on Yieldiac. It's an auto compounder, so it's gonna harvest your Joe for you. It'll sell it for you and split it 50-50 and redeposit it. They take a small fee, but it kind of simplifies the process. Okay, last strategy that I'll go over is just rotate into other ecosystems. Phantom, Solana, Harmony. There's like 10 ecosystems that's like announced like liquidity mining programs, right? So there are a bunch of strategies you can do here, and I think it's useful because you don't even have to like take all of your bags, sell it into stable coins and rotate into like, for example, like Solana or something, right? I'm just saying, okay, like maybe you rotate 10% of your bags, rotate into Phantom Solana or whatever, and like start learning the ecosystem and like why people love it so much, right? And because I feel like that's the best alpha you can do for yourself. Like instead of like just listening to YouTubers like myself talk about, oh, I love Phantom, why don't you just try using it yourself, right? And see if it's something that you can see more people using in the future. Because ultimately, I want to wrap this video up with this meme. Me personally, I'm a multi-chainooooooor, right? This kind of I guess explains me well, where I go where the yields are, I go where the opportunities are. Even though I love Avalanche, I'm not loyal to Avalanche. I'm loyal to my portfolio. I'm loyal to my gains. I'm loyal to like managing risk. And despite all the bullish things that you're going to see on YouTube, Twitter, like whatever social media platform you're on, you have to do what's best for your own portfolio, right? Like don't just ape something because some random anonymous guy on Twitter is saying that Avalanche is going to hit $150 because we're bullish, right? I mean, they could be right, but that's not really like a strategy that I would put my money behind. I do my own research. I build my own thesis. I build conviction, right? Saylor level conviction. I deploy capital and I wait for that thesis to play out, right? And because I have so much conviction, I'm not going to be shaken out by whatever dips that we have. But you also have to understand that, hey, I was early in this, so I have to take profits at some point, right? I'm not going to bag hold this, hoping this thing gets to like $300. Like that's not a viable strategy. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hope this video helped with profit taking strategies, doing your own research, right? Building your own conviction, etc. When it comes to building my own conviction and doing my own research, I have a private Discord where I share all of my research and I guess other ecosystems that I'm thinking about rotating into. So if you're interested in that, do that. The link will be in the description below. Keep in mind, I don't run ads. I don't have sponsors, no referral links, no promo codes, no paid shows. So, like everything I do for YouTube is free because I enjoy making it. So, if you want to support the channel, like private Discord, I guess, you get like a bunch of tools and alpha there. So, if you're interested, look out for that. So thank you guys for watching and have fun farming out there.